Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking through some player props I like on Prizepicks for today's NFL slate for Week 16. We're going to talk through 3 player props I like for Prizepicks for today, this Week 16 NFL slate. We're going to give out some plays I like for the games on Sunday. We had a couple games on Saturday, decided not to make a video for the Saturday games, really didn't see many props that I liked. And then obviously we have Monday Night Football, which I'll do a separate video for. That'll probably go up later on Sunday night. But for Sunday's slate of games, got 3 player props I'm going to share in this video that we're going to break down and talk about. So before we do, guys, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have an account over there, sign up, use promo code NOAH. When you guys sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and place your first lineup, you'll get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. Make sure to sign up for Prizepicks if you have not yet. And I do also want to shout out Sleeper because we do have a partnership with Sleeper as well. Sleeper has a new promo that they're doing for new users. Sign up, make a deposit, use that code NOAH. You play $5, you get $55. So this is a new promo Sleeper's doing. It replaces their 100% deposit match promo. So this is definitely it's a better promo if you are someone that doesn't want to deposit a bunch of money into this. You only want to put in $20, $25, whatever it may be. I'm pretty sure on Sleeper the minimum deposit is $25. You put in $25, play a $5 lineup. Even if you lose that, you're going to get $55 worth of free lineups that you can then play to try and build up a bankroll off of. So cool promo Sleeper's doing. If you guys want access to this promo, check them out, sign up, use code NOAH. Download that Sleeper app and go take advantage of this promo while it's available for new users. So yeah, guys, let's talk through some props I'm liking for this Week 16 NFL slate. We've got 3 plays to break down on Prizepicks that I like this week. First prop we're going to take a look at is going to be a fantasy score prop on Chuba Hubbard, and I like Chuba Hubbard for more than 14.5 fantasy score. So if you are new to Prizepicks, you don't know how fantasy score works. It's really self-explanatory. It's full PPR fantasy football scoring. You can actually click scoring chart and you can see how fantasy points are calculated. So the reason I like this fantasy point line on Chuba Hubbard, for one, you can just kind of look at his projections, kind of all around the board. His rush yards line, which is set at 71.5. His receiving yards line, which is set at 18.5. His receptions prop is set at 3.5, but it's a demon, so he's actually favored for over 2.5 receptions. He's got a 95.5 rush yards prop. I mean, if we give Chuba Hubbard 90 total yards, we give him 3 receptions. That's 12 fantasy points, and that's without factoring in potential for touchdowns. And on Prizepicks, Chuba Hubbard to score a touchdown is a goblin. That means that the odds are favoring the over. Obviously, it's not an absolute lock guarantee that Chuba Hubbard scores a touchdown on Sunday, but his odds are juiced towards the over for him to score, which is why you're getting a reduced payout on that if you were to take him for a touchdown on Prizepicks. I would rather take him to go over his fantasy point line. I think if he scores a touchdown, he's pretty likely to finish with over 14.5 fantasy points, and there are definitely scenarios where he doesn't score a touchdown but still gets over this fantasy score line, because Chuba Hubbard is a running back that does get a lot of involvement, not only on the ground but as a pass catcher as well. He's had a really, really good role this season for the Panthers, and his role is going to be even bigger right now because they don't have Jonathan Brooks. They don't have Miles Sanders. He's their best running back by far. Like the other running back that's probably going to get snaps this week for Carolina is Raheem Blackshear. Raheem Blackshear, I mean, he's barely been involved at all this season. I don't even think he's actually touched the ball yet this season. So this is definitely a spot where Chuba Hubbard has upside for 20-plus touches. He should get a ton of volume. It's a really good matchup, too, against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are top 10 in fantasy points allowed to running backs. I just think this fantasy score line on Chuba Hubbard's way too low here. I think this line should probably be like 16.5. I think 14.5 is definitely a few points too low. And we can actually take a look at Underdog, who does fantasy point projections as well. Underdog has their line on Chuba Hubbard set at 14.95, so around 15. On Underdog, it's half point PPR. On Prizepicks, it's full point PPR. So not only are we getting a lower line on Prizepicks compared to Underdog, but we're also getting better scoring because Prizepicks is full point PPR. You get a point per reception. And Hubbard, again, a good pass catching running back. He can catch 3, 4, 5 balls, pretty much any week. And Hubbard, I think, he's had at least 5 targets in 4 out of his last 5 games. So he's been really getting good involvement in the passing game to go along with a lot of work on the ground too. Just really good matchup. A lot of volume in store for Chuba Hubbard. There's a lot of boxes you can check in this spot. I like him for more than 14.5 fantasy score. Next prop I like is going to be a prop on Kenneth Walker, and we're going to take another fantasy score prop here, less than 14.5 fantasy score on Kenneth Walker. So Kenneth Walker's making his return from a calf injury. He's been out the last 2 games for Seattle. He was a full participant in practice this week, so I think there's a chance that Kenneth Walker comes back and is full go, not limited. But there's also a chance that he is limited here in his first game back from injury. And Seattle still has a good backup running back in Zach Charbonnet, who they want to give touches to. Zach Charbonnet's not going away. Like, he's still going to be involved in this backfield. Charbonnet played relatively well in the absence of Kenneth Walker. So I don't think Kenneth Walker is just going to come back and immediately get like 20 touches. I think he's probably going to get like 12 to 15 touches, maybe 10 to 12 carries, maybe he gets a couple receptions. And if that's the case, I think this 14.5 fantasy score line is going to be tough for him to hit, especially in a really tough matchup like this. This is probably one of the worst possible matchups for a running back going up against Minnesota. Minnesota has been elite against the run this season. They've been one of the toughest teams to run on. So far this season, Minnesota's giving up the 4th fewest rush yards per game. They've allowed just 6 rushing touchdowns, which is 4th fewest as well. That's tied for 4th fewest. And then overall, in terms of fantasy points allowed, Minnesota's giving up the 3rd fewest fantasy points per game to running backs. So not only do we have a running back returning from injury, we also have him in a brutal matchup here. Plus, he's in a spot where he's probably going to have to cede some work to Charbonnet, their backup. Charbonnet, he's going to get opportunity. It's not like Kenneth Walker's just going to be a workhorse running back. I'm still expecting Zach Charbonnet to be involved, and especially since Charbonnet played well in Kenneth Walker's absence, he's going to definitely be involved here. So just given the matchup, the first game back from injury, and even if you look at Kenneth Walker's, lines this week, I mean, his rush yards line is only 48.5. Like, clearly the sports books are not expecting Kenneth Walker to be very effective on the ground in this matchup. Sure, his receiving yards line is set at 20.5. He could maybe catch like 3 or 4 passes here. But I think in order for Kenneth Walker to go over this fantasy score line, he's going to have to either score a touchdown, he's going to have to run for like 100 yards, or he's going to have to catch like 7 passes. It's going to be hard for him to go over this line without one of those things happening. He's a demon to score a touchdown, so like he's not as likely to score a touchdown here. Obviously, receptions wise, he only projects to get like 3 or 4 catches. I mean, his receptions prop is at 2.5. I just think this line is a little bit too high on Kenneth Walker. Like, Kenneth Walker and Chuba Hubbard have, you look at Hubbard's rush yards line, his rush yards line is set like, it's 20 yards higher than Kenneth Walker's is. Yet every other projection, receiving yards, receptions, those are all the same. Like, if anything, I think Chuba Hubbard's line should be like 2 points higher, and Kenneth Walker's line should be like 2 points lower. So, like, I definitely think these lines are a little bit off here. I like Hubbard for more than 14.5. I like Walker for less than 14.5. And I like to compare projections back to Prizepicks. Obviously, we talked about how Underdog, you can look at their fantasy point lines. Their fantasy point line on Kenneth Walker is set around 12 fantasy points. Again, Underdog is half-point PPR, so it's typically you're always going to see lines be lower on Underdog than they will be on Prizepicks because the scoring system is different. But actually, the NFL DFS projections that I look at have Kenneth Walker projected around 12.5 fantasy points, and I think that's probably where this line should be. 12.5, I think 14.5 is a bit too high here. So, like that is our second prop for Sunday. Third and final prop we're going to take is going to be a prop on Josh Allen, and I like Josh Allen for more than 271.5 pass plus rush yards. So Josh Allen has been on an absolute tear lately. He's been playing at an MVP level. He's like a massive favorite to win MVP. I think on FanDuel he's like minus 900. Pretty likely to be the MVP this year, and he's played incredibly well lately. He's been racking up a ton of yards, not only through the air but also on the ground. Now I do want to mention that Buffalo has been involved in some big time shootouts lately. Like, their last 2 games have been huge shootouts. Last game against Detroit, they won 48-42, and then the game before that against the Rams, the final score was 42-44. They lost that game. The San Francisco game, they did put up 35 points. Josh Allen didn't really do much in terms of yards, but he did have a lot of touchdowns. I think he actually went over his fantasy point line in that game. And then the 2 previous games, I mean, he threw for 262, added on 55 rush yards, threw for 280, added on 50 yards. Like, Josh Allen has been not only great as a passer lately, but he's also been running a ton. He's had at least 8 rush attempts in 4 out of his last 5 games. He's had at least 50 rush yards in 4 out of his last 5 games. I like Allen for more than 271.5 pass plus rush yards. I think you could also take a look at his pass yards prop as well. But again, Allen can provide you a lot of mobility. He's a guy that can run. They'll call design runs for him. And you can see he's been running a lot lately. So that's why I think the pass plus rush yards looks a little bit better. Plus, if we kind of compare, market projections, you can actually look on DraftKings Sportsbook right now. Josh Allen's pass plus rush yards line is set at 274.5. And on Underdog, they have their line on Allen set at 275.5. So just kind of comparing projections around the industry, it looks like Prizepicks is the lowest here on Josh Allen's pass plus rush yards, which is why I like the over on Prizepicks of 271.5. Plus, I think the matchup here against New England is definitely a good one. I mean, New England's defense has not been as stout as they have been previously. New England's given up a lot of big plays this year. They've given up a lot of production through the air. They're giving up the 7th most pass yards, New England's given up the 7th most yards per pass attempt this season. So they're giving up a lot of yards through the air, especially they're giving up a lot of big plays. We know Josh Allen's a gunslinger. He's a guy that likes to take deep shots. New England's also given up the 5th highest QB rating, so QBs have had a lot of success, have been efficient against this New England defense. Josh Allen has been playing probably the best ball of his career right now, playing incredibly well. I think this 271.5 line on him for pass plus rush yards could be a little bit higher. I think this line could also get bumped, so I do like this play quite a bit on Allen. Going to take him for more than 271.5 pass plus rush yards. Also, the Bills have the highest team total on the entire Week 16 slate. That just shows you Vegas, sports books, they're expecting the Bills to put up a lot of points here. If the Bills put up a lot of points, you got to think a lot of that's coming through Josh Allen, whether it be from him throwing the ball or getting yards with his legs. So I like that as three props for this Sunday NFL slate, guys. For Week 16, we're going to take Chuba Hubbard for more than 14.5 fantasy score. We're going to take Kenneth Walker for less than 14.5 fantasy score, and Josh Allen for more than 271.5 pass plus rush yards. So 3 plays, guys. Let's try and go 3-0 here. If you guys are going to be tailing me on these 3 plays, let's see if we can go 3-0. Hit all 3 of these plays, make some money on this NFL slate. As always, I appreciate you guys watching these Prizepicks videos. Make sure to hit that like button down below if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to Prizepicks and if you don't have a Prizepicks account, sign up, use promo code NOAH. When you sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code, place your first lineup, you'll get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. Check them out if you have not yet. But good luck this week. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next video.